My name is Warwick Smith. I'm the CEO of American Pacific. I'll start off by saying thank you to Chen and to the other great companies that are up on the stage for letting me join the stage with them today. I'm sure you've all seen a few forward-looking statements today, so I won't get into that. American Pacific. So we took American Pacific public in March of 2018, which was a fantastic time to take a junior mining company public. I imagine you can hear the disdain in my voice when I say that. But we picked up the Tuscarora asset from Novo Resources, which, as Chen mentioned, came from Quentin Hennig. I'll also say thank you to that for Lawrence Rolston. He was actually the one who called myself up, and he knew myself and my business partner, Eric Saderholm, were looking for assets. He said, you should check out this Tuscarora. Novo has it. They've had a big discovery in Australia. That's where their focus is. But I think they've got a discovery in Nevada, and I think this is something you guys could do a lot of good with. So we were very lucky to be able to go in and pick up the asset. We paid a $375,000 Canadian for the asset. It has some spectacularly high grades that you can see up on the screen. That's really what caught our attention. Once we went and looked at it, we recognized they'd only really looked at 2 of the vein sets that run through the project. There's at least 10 vein sets that run through the project that we're interested in. So we gathered up our money and we started drilling. So in 2018, we came out, we drilled a few holes. We put out the first batch of holes. We got a call from one of the mid-tiers showing interest. Took it to the board. The board rightly said, if you're speaking to one, speak to them all. So we did that. Oceana very quickly rose to the top, and we've ended up cutting a deal with them. As a side note on that, we were flying all across the world, meeting with all these different mid-tiers and talking to them and trying to get a deal done. Eric, my business partner, who was the former head of exploration in the Western U.S. for Newmont, was at the pub in Elko and literally bumped into the guy from Oceana. Said, oh yeah, we've got this high-grade epithermal system. Told him about it. Oceana called the next day and said, let's go see it. It's just a reminder, you should always go to the pub. Tuscarora, the JV with Oceana. So we paid $375,000 Canadian for the asset. They came in, they're spending $10 million US to earn 75% of the project. You can see on the screen there some of the grades on the cross section, which I was just pointing out before. They're spectacularly high grade, so we're excited. They're in the process of drilling as we speak right now. Some of the milestones for 2019, we raised just under $1.5 million in March of this year. Then quickly thereafterwards in April, we ended up closing the transaction with Oceana Gold. We then acquired the historic Gooseberry mine, which I'll get into in a moment. Oceana started work from there on. They started by doing gravity, CSAMT, and mapping. Why that's important, they view Tuscarora similarly to an asset that's called Wahi that they have in New Zealand. They really cracked the code in Wahi with the CSAMT that they did. CSAMT is essentially high-power geophysics, for those of you who don't know. They got that asset from Newmont. They went in, did CSAMT, cracked the code on it, and they've turned it into a tremendous producer for them. They're hoping to do the same thing here. So that was something that we were quite interested in having them do. They jig it differently than others, so that was exciting for us. In July, we raised just on another $1 million, and Oceana is drilling 4,000 meters as we speak. They've just finished drilling, so results pending here in short order. Trading statistics. Okay, I think this is one of the things that probably makes American Pacific a little different than a lot of the juniors that are out there. We trade on the Canadian Stock Exchange. We trade a tremendous amount of volume, and that liquidity has been one of the secrets to us being able to finance easier than others. I won't say easy, it's never easy, especially in this market. But between January and October 17th, we traded 128 million shares. This company only has 63 million shares out. On average, it trades 600,000 or 700,000 shares a day. So for those of you with clients or those of you that are looking to get a position, you're able to buy a position. If you choose to move out of it, you're able to sell it as well. Obviously something that's important. And a lot of things, a lot of other companies don't have at this point. American Pacific was the second highest trading volume mining stock on the CSE. There's 159 mining companies. There was only one that traded more than us, and we were the 25th highest volume trader out of all the companies on the CSE. The big intention for 2020 is to grow. It's a challenge being a sub $10 million market cap, and it's a challenge that a lot of these small companies are facing. It's more difficult to raise capital, it's more difficult to get institutional ownership. So our intention in 2020 is to grow via the drill bit and to grow via acquisition. Now, those are two things that we're in the process of looking to do. Obviously, we've got Oceana drilling today. What you're seeing is the drilling that took place. You can see those are 3 areas that they drilled before. That's the town. There's about 25 people that live in that town. And our drilling was done on the other side here as well. That just kind of gives you a view of where we are. Exploration budgets. So Oceana had to spend $625,000 US this year. They're at spending around $710,000 so far, so they've gone over that. It's $750,000 next year, 1.125 in the third, and $1.5 million in the fourth year. Second way that we grow is through acquisition. So we picked up the Gooseberry mine. Once we did the deal with Oceana, we needed another asset that we owned 100% of. At PDAC, we sat around with our directors, talked about other assets that may be available, and Gooseberry was one of them. Gooseberry was in production up until 1994 and has sat and hasn't had any work done on it since. Just outside of Reno, very high-grade asset. Again, we went and staked it. We were able to pick it up for a cost of $20,000. We think we'll be able to bring in a partner on this as well. One of the issues that we had with Gooseberry is when we picked it up, we only had half of the data. And if you're going to go start talking to mid-tiers and majors, you need to have all your ducks in a row and make sure you really only get one good crack at talking to these guys. So that was our biggest concern with Gooseberry. We knew we liked it. About 3 weeks ago, we were able to get the other half of the data. So we're in the process of building a 3D model and putting all the digital work together. And then we'll then go and start speaking to some of these mid-tiers and see if we can bring in a partner here, which I'm quite sure that we can. This is just a look. That's a 1,000-foot shaft that they went down. They left ore ahead of them in the 90s, early 90s. Obviously, gold was in. Some of the gold companies were in a lot of trouble, and this was one of them. So this has sat here for quite some time, and it's an asset that we're very, very excited about moving forward with. Next steps for us, as I mentioned, is to grow by drill and grow by acquisition. We're constantly looking at other assets that we can bring into the company. I feel quite confident to say that I think we'll be standing here next year with a couple of mid-tiers as opposed to just one, and bringing in other assets and things that we can move forward with. The company has 62 million shares out. We have just under $1 million in cash. The burn rate's $73,000 a month, so we keep our burn rate nice and low. We've got money to keep moving, and we're excited for the year ahead. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.